with all due respect.
Hey, we're Josh Ortegon and Greg Gaines, and this is With All Due Respect, the show where we keep it real about health, fitness, and performance. From weight loss to sports development, we're covering the conversations that matter.
Follow us on Instagram at Phenom Fitness, PHNM Fitness, and visit www.phenomfit.com to check out our training programs, coaching, and gear built for real results. Let's get into it.
All right, recording in progress. With all due respect, 70.
3.
What? 3?
73? Yeah, I think.
73. I want to toot our own horn for our consistency with podcasting for the last 73 episodes.
Yeah. A year and some change.
You remember when we used
Actually, a year and a half. We're at a year and a half now.
remember when we used to plan for all these things and now we're just like, just hit record. Even
Yeah.
with
Yeah. But that's how it goes, right? Like I mean, we'll still send some guest questions from time to time, especially if it's on like a particular, topic we want to talk about. But like Marcy's a great example. We listed out a guideline for questions for our first episode and did not stick to it. So
no. And I think it's easy to do, so we know that there are a lot of people that are influencers in this industry that actually don't coach people,
mhm.
right? And they haven't coached people ever, or they did, they don't do it anymore. And they're not in the everyday thick and thin and the minutia of actually working with human beings. Maybe
Mhm.
they're really in good shape, so they became an influencer. They post a lot of good pics where they look like that. And then people want to look like them, so they start following them and they start giving them really awful advice. Right.
Mhm.
And that is very common in the industry. I get it. We want to look like certain people. We think that they're going to do things that make me look like that person. There's a ton of context behind that, and they become the expert. But when you're in this industry in the thick and thin of it daily, you never run out of topics because you're constantly communicating with people about where people are at with their struggles. And that's honestly what led to us writing the book. I tell people, they're like,
Yeah.
how'd you put that together, that book? I said, well, we had a ton of content already done from doing our ultimate guides.
Mhm.
And we probably did like 6 or 7 ultimate guides. And those ultimate guides turned into chapters. And then we just added chapters, changed the tone, edited it, and launched the book, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a collection of stuff we've already done. So a lot of it was already done in the book, and a lot of it is just how we coach. So you're just writing out how you coach.
Right. When I mean, I tell people all the time, like, especially if they're interested in getting into this industry, I'm like, the only is if you're gonna ever want to go online, you have to have in-person experience at some point. You do, like being in front of people and learning from other people. Like you can't expect to have all of this great content to post on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and whatever if you don't actually work with people,
Yeah.
because that's the way you learn. That's also the way you learn that it's not a one size fits all when it comes to like even your squat stance versus how you eat your protein. Like it's not a one size fits all. You have to be able to adapt to what your client is willing to do or able to do.
I also think it's your own personal time underneath the bar, right? It's only,
Oh, totally.
I've had the opportunity many times where an exercise science professor, I think I've done this 3 or 4 times, will be like, "Hey, will you speak to my class and come on Zoom?" Never in person, so people outside. And I'll come on Zoom and they're like, "Hey, we just explained kind of your story from exercise science graduate to this." And I said, and I actually asked the people, how many people in here are in exercise science and actually write their own programs and do their own nutrition and do their own lifting and do all that? And dude, it was like a small percent. It was less than 50% of this class,
Yeah.
like a third of the class. And I'm like, so you're in an exercise science field, but nothing shows me that you actually like exercise or science, right? So like
Hmm.
there's so much more to be. There's nothing. I've ever asked an athlete to do or a coached client to do that I've not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been under the bar.
100%.
I've been under the
Because
bar.
mhm, you have to
Roll the clock.
know, you have to know what that looks like. The only advice I'll say that I've given and haven't been through is pregnancy. That's the only
Yeah,
one. That's all I can think of.
yeah.
But other than that, absolutely. Like you have to be able to put it into practice as a coach and know what it looks like. And
Yeah,
also,
pregnancy and kids for you, right? Pregnancy and kids.
yeah, yeah.
And you might change your whole concept when you go through pregnancy and kids, right? Um, Asher's mom had an incredible, and people will always tell this to her. She'd have friends talk to her about pregnancy and her birth and raising a kid. And they're almost coming to her hoping that it's like miserable because their experience was miserable.
Hmm.
And Rachel was like, no, like pretty easy pregnancy, seven pushes, kid came out, and he's slept through the night right away. And people were like, well, then you didn't really have a pregnancy and a birth and have a kid. Well, it's just been really easy. Like they're almost talking to her like they want it to be miserable, right?
Which I don't understand. I've heard that same thing from like my friends that are pregnant. Not that they're speaking negatively, but just other people have been like, oh, we'll just wait until this or wait until this. And it's like always so much misery around pregnancy. And I'm like, then why did you get pregnant if you are so miserable?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, why? And also, why are you sharing that with other people? The only time I feel like that's appropriate is if it's like friend to friend talking about like what they've been through, but it's uh, random people coming up to a friend of mine and being like, just wait till how you feel at the end of the first trimester, or wait till you start throwing up, or wait till you start peeing yourself. It's like, what? Why are we saying that?
Rachel smashed Fruit Loops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Wendy's cheeseburgers, bro. Smashed them.
I believe it.
Worked out all the way up to like 8 months. And then it just got to the point where like you're so pregnant, you're pregnant, like you're just
You're
like
just
you're a water
uncomfortable.
balloon, right?
Yeah.
She had seven contractions, like seven pushes.
Hmm.
Boom, kid. And it's kind of been easy.
Hmm.
But this might be a horrible correlation. And people are like, why didn't you have a second one? The first one was so easy. I was like, well, my dog, B, the older one, easiest dog in the world. Easiest dog, best temperament. She's a big, huge blue pit bull, great around people, kids, so docile, loving. And I'm like, well, this one's easy. Let's get a second pit bull. And that pit bull's a butthole. And he's a real jerk. And I'm kind of feel like, all right, I had that easy kid. I'm going to learn my lessons from the dogs. That second kid's going to be a butthole. Like and people are like, why didn't you have two kids? Well, because I had two dogs and the second one sucks. So, I mean, I didn't want that to happen with a kid. But you bring up something too. Um, Dieting and nutrition,
Hmm.
people do the same thing with that. They're like, it's so miserable. Oh my God,
Hmm.
was it protein? Oh my God, I gotta go to the gym. And they share these horrible stories and like coming off like an 8 week cut, people are like, you only went out to eat two times? And I'm like, yeah. And I started thinking, like, was that supposed to be hard? Like, was that supposed to be hard? It was just easier not going out to eat. And like, oh, you must have been miserable. I'm like, well, I had cravings. I wasn't hungry, but I had cravings. There's a difference, right? I had a client text me this week and there's like, oh man, those muffins today really got me. Why are muffins in your house, idiot?
Hmm.
Like I get like, what are you doing? And oh, everything was great, but smashed four muffins. And I'm confused. I don't get it. Here's another thing, and this is things we can talk about too. Uh, Women come to me, and you have way more women than I do, right? Because women don't want to work with me, right? That does not hurt my feelings. Anytime people come to me about coaching, I always give them the option for you.
Hmm.
Because like it's I want them to be comfortable and get their results. And it doesn't have to come through me. I'm not, it doesn't have to be me. I don't, I'll be honest with you, there are some women I don't want it to be me, right?
Yeah.
But this preconceived ideas that the lower the calories and the Pilates toning workouts and that's just what I need. That's just what I need. That's what's always worked for me. And then you're like, no, it hasn't. It hasn't worked for you. And there's a social component to that, right?
Hmm.
Because they think, well, I just eat less. I'm eating too much. I'm not doing enough. I don't want to get bulky. And the look on women's face when they come to you and they say, and they look at their food eating, and you're like, you're not getting enough protein. You're way too low in calories, and you need to hit the gym an extra 2 days. And they're like, well, what's that look like? I was like, well, you probably need to bump up 300 to 400 calories and add 2 days to the gym. Cut out your whatever your bar class, right? Which is just, you know, an extension of to me trying to be a ballerina since you were five, right? And they look at me like I'm crazy, Gray. And you know what I always say? I say, have you seen what Gray looks like? They're like, yeah, she looks great. 2,700 calories a day.
Yeah. And maintenance. Yeah. No, I
And,
mean, that's definitely dropped since, but yeah, I mean, I'd still probably be like 24, 2,500.
and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, yeah, because the metabolism is strong, or my calories are so low, I'm doing everything where it's got to be my hormones. Well, blood work, let's get blood work. Like, I've really been on the blood work thing lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the fastest way to prove yourself wrong.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, like, because 9 out of the 10 clients that come to work with us and go get their blood work done, 9 out of 10 of them have nothing wrong with them except for their lifestyle.
Mm.
There is that one person that's like, okay, this is off, and we'll
Yeah.
work on this, you
Yeah.
know?
And I know Rachel won't care if I share this. Like, Rachel's 43. Um, Once women start dyeing their hair, you know something's going on, right? I always say that. Um,
She looks great brown though. I love the
well,
brunette.
I told her I finally got my girlfriend back because that's what she was when we met.
Yeah, I
It was
remember
dark,
that.
dark, dark black hair, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
having a wife and a girlfriend at the same time. And that joke didn't work well. But her her estrogen was a little low, not crazy low, but
Hmm.
she carries the BRCA gene.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yep.
you can't crank that estrogen up, right?
Hmm.
Progesterone was a little low, but like total testosterone was in the tank,
Yeah.
like really bad.
And
So
that's what
I
you see
kind
a
of,
lot, I
and
feel.
all those times I told her to like do certain things and it wasn't her hormones, it was her hormones, right? So because listen, I don't know if it's like this for you in your marriage. The last thing they want to do is listen to us.
Uh, I've been in a relationship like that before.
Okay.
My marriage is a lot better.
Well, he also works out and does stuff.
Yeah. And like, yeah. And I would say there's partly some of it where he's like, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm the same the other way around too. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Rachel tries to tell me how to dress, and I'm like, that's stupid. Right. That's
That's her thing.
that's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she has done some things that made changes, and I never said I told you so. But she was a habitual an under eater. Um, she spent her whole 20s under eating, drinking Americanos with double espresso shots, skipping breakfast, and running. And she just had incredible genetics.
Yeah.
Those eventually catch up to you, and now she understands that eating protein, lifting, getting your fiber in
Yeah.
is how that goes. But there's such a social side to that with women because women will make comments to each other like, "Oh my God, you eat so much."
Yeah.
Right? So when I have women that struggle and they're like, "I just don't know psychologically if I can bump up my calories that much." I understand.
Yeah. And that's why you do it slowly. I mean, like, if I'm asking a woman, like I have a client right now who's been chronically under eating for God knows how long, and she's getting maybe 1,100, 1,200 calories in average, and I want to take her up to 1,750. I'm not going to automatically be like, you have to go to 1,750. I had her start tracking for a few weeks, and we found over time that she could get herself up to like 14, 1,500.
and feel
So
comfortable.
she's, yeah, so she's doing well there now, and we're gonna stay there for a while.
Yeah, that's smart. Meet them where they're at, right?
Yep.
Um, I was at 2,700 calories on non-lift days and 3,000 calories on lift days. And now I'm at 3,250 for lift days, 3,000 for non-lift days.
Yeah.
So I've only bumped up just a little bit, but my reason is different. I took Asher to Mod Pizza on a Sunday after I cut out my calories, or I finished, and I was like, I'm gonna go eat a Mod Pizza.
Hmm.
I haven't had it for 8 weeks, and I like it that they cook it right there. Like I can see it being cooked. So I like there's a little control issue there. I'm like that boom, and I had incredible gray. I haven't had heartburn for 8 weeks.
That's awesome.
I ate that food, and when I tell you heartburn, I'm talking like uncomfortable sitting down heartburn.
Oh yeah, just like
Oh
painful.
my gosh. And like it was in my stomach and it was in my chest and like I felt like it was in my lungs. And what I've realized is like, I don't know if it's the tomato paste, probably some of that, the amount of cheese they put on it, all of that.
Hmm.
And I've taken basic cheese out of my diet. I eat cottage cheese, but not like
Yeah.
I haven't eaten like the yellow cheese that you put on like whatever.
Ugh, that makes me sick.
And heartburn's gone.
Hmm.
And the more whole foods I eat, the better because hey, 3,200 calories a day on just whole foods of oats and chicken and rice and potatoes and ground turkey and fruit and vegetables. It's kind of hard.
It's so hard. You have to get really strategic. We talked about that with Marcy last week too, just being tactical about how much food you're getting when you have an increase in food, like how you get there. You know, it is really strategic on how you get there. But you also have to be like willing to eat more volume, right? And I always tell clients too, I'm like, when I'm increasing your calories, don't forget little movements really help. So like I go for an extra walk every day because that helps me digest.
Mm.
I'm not like running as fast as I can or walking as fast as I can when I'm on that walk, but like I live in like a neighborhood where I have a circle behind me and it takes like 7 minutes and I'll just walk that
Yeah,
circle because I
yeah.
just need that extra boost. So obviously if you're eating more calories and you're only spending your 30 to 60 minutes in the gym and not moving throughout the rest of the day, yeah, it's gonna suck. You're gonna feel really bad.
There was a guy on social that did a hashtag 10-minute walk, hashtag 10-minute walk,
Hmm.
where he just got people to do 10-minute walks after they ate. Like they're either after their biggest meal or after every meal. 'Cause not everybody can go for a 10-minute walk after every meal, right?
Yep.
So they'd be like, hey, after dinner or your biggest meal, go for a 10-minute walk and what it does to regulate blood sugar and digestion. And I remember hitting, this is like 3, 4 years ago. I remember hitting it, the hashtag, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who caught on to that one habit of going for a 10-minute walk after they ate food. But that led to so many other different habits for those people. Like those people were like, hey, I'm now doing 20 minutes, now doing 30 minutes. Man, now I'm making sure I get a good breakfast. So I'm eating a big breakfast and going outside in the sunlight and going for a walk in the sun.
Yeah.
It's just the amazing, uh, the amazing. And somebody tagged me or bought the book. I don't even know who this person is, but they messaged me and they said they're having struggles with all of this, but I just bought your book. What do you recommend? I said, go to the 28-day calendar. Yeah, let's see the pup. Look at that.
He definitely pooped. Remember I told you he was going
Yeah,
to? I smell it.
you can go get it.
No, it's okay. We
Um,
can leave it. It's probably just on the
uh,
hardwoods.
and I said, go get the 28-day calendar, get 3 goals, and go start. And she shared a picture of the book, and in the comments, she said, looking to solidify or something like looking to solidify my habits and my consistency.
I think, yeah, I think she might have actually, I might
I
know who
think
you're
you're
talking
friends with her.
about.
I think she started following you.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
was so excited to see that because when she talked about the book, it was nothing about the workout plan. It was nothing about her calories. It was nothing about her protein. It was nothing. It was just my habits and my consistency, which tells me like we're getting the right message out we want.
Right.
Habits and consistency. Well, what are the best habits? You pick them. I do tell people pick a nutrition habit, a workout habit, and a lifestyle habit.
Yeah, and get really good at those
You're
and then
really good at
pick three
those,
more,
and
you
don't
know?
change them every day. Like I've had people come to me and they're like, "Well, I'm going to do 28 different habits in 28 different days." I'm like, "It ain't going to work."
Yeah, like you're gonna have such burnout trying to
Yeah.
do that. Pick one,
They're
pick
like, one
two, pick
habit, one day I'm going
three.
to do this, and the next day I'm going to do this, and the next day I'm going to do this. And I go, no, pick the same three and do them
Mhm.
because at the end of 28 days, you're not going to be good at anything and you're going to get no results and you're going to be frustrated and none of the habits are going to stick.
Mhm.
I said, so just pick three really basic habits. And what usually happens is people will come to me and be like, all right, I'm going to lift every day, walk every day, eat, track my calories every day. I'm like, no, probably not.
Yeah.
You're going to do some sort of movement every day. Maybe 3 days a week of that is lifting. You're going to eat your protein and maybe quit eating 2 hours before you go to bed, right?
Mhm.
And those habits stick. And then after 28 days, we either add a habit, replace a habit, or look back and say you weren't consistent. Do keep doing it again until you're more consistent.
Yeah.
And
I think there's nothing wrong with having the same goals. It doesn't matter how long you have them. If you're staying consistent with them, have those goals. Like I have a client who her goal for the past like 6 years has still always been to make sure she's getting enough water because it's easy to not get enough water. If that needs to remain your goal for years, let that be your goal. Like I obviously feel like things should progress over time. So like the intensity of your strength training needs to get more intense, right? Maybe your
yeah,
walks get a little bit longer. Maybe you get better in the kitchen, but like your protein goal can stay pretty much the same,
yeah,
right? Your calorie intake might change over time, but there's things that will stay the same. And I think people are always like in this mindset of, I have to achieve all of these things and make all of these big goals and have to be done with it in 30 days. And I'm like, that is not how this works
hmm,
at all. And you're going to have regressions. Like I talked to one of the owners of the studio I'm at now yesterday, and he was like, do you ever just get burnt out in your workouts? I'm like, all the time.
yeah,
All the time. If you ever see me jumping into multiple different classes, I am burnout. And the reason I am going to class is so that I don't stop working out
yeah,
because class will get me there, you know?
yeah. So here's my question: managing the expectation. Somebody comes to you and they go, I really want to change my body composition big time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna, and maybe they don't work out yet, and you're starting with a daily walk, a high protein breakfast, and 100 ounces of water a day.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you both know that that's probably not going to make them lean with muscle tone.
No.
That's starting a habit, but do you manage the expectation so they know, like, hey, this probably won't get you there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to. You have to because like I'm not about to sit here and lie to you and tell you that you're going to gain a bunch of muscle and change your total body composition when you're not strength training. Like that's not going to happen. I will say like you'll probably lose some weight, especially if you're a larger individual and you have more weight to lose. Yeah, when you change your calories, you change your protein and you walk, you're probably going to lose some weight.
Hmm.
That's great. That's exactly what we want. However, you have to add strength training in some capacity. And I tell people too, I'm like, I don't care if you start with classes, go to class, go to your sessions, make sure that there's strength training in there. I do think Pilates has its place, but you've got to be strength training in some capacity. And what I find with a lot of people is that they'll start those classes and it might be that 3 or 4 days per week, but then they get to a place where like, okay, I think I'm ready to do this on my own. They'll start strength training 2 days per week and going to class 2 days per week. And
Hmm.
then it's strength training 3 days per week and class once per
Yeah.
week.
So it's
And
more
I,
about changing the habit and changing it's more about the mindset
yeah,
than anything.
yeah. Well, it's confidence in yourself too. Like a lot of people don't know how to work out, don't know form, don't want to hurt themselves. And so I'm like, yes, class has its place. 100% those fitness classes have their place. And I still do love them for community, for endurance, for training in a different way, because a lot of lifters will get stuck in training really slow. And I don't think that's always super beneficial. So yeah, go train in a faster way. That's going to make you better at everything, right? Like I always tell people, I'm like, if you're, older and something falls quickly or your grandchild gets up and runs, like you've got to be able to get up quickly, right? You can't just like slowly get up off the floor, right? So
Yeah.
there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
And I just think that slowly building the confidence over time, and I can kind of compare this to us doing our podcast. It's like, okay, we're just going to start it and we're going to see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And over time, we got more confident with it. So now it's like, okay, we're cool. Like it doesn't even feel like anything. It's just like what we do,
And now we've been told to ramp it up by Ray.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, how to do different things and formatting and all that. Yeah, and it's just, you're right. That is the net. Our podcast is like that. Now we have a coach who says,
Hmm.
"Hey guys, start looking at some other things from production and doing things better and different. Get off of Zoom, do these other things because you proved you've been consistent. Now we're time to ramp it up." There's really no difference than that in your nutrition and your diet. Mike has been on this kick lately. I was like following Mike's content, especially now that he's in a practice. And so if you're listening to this, you can actually go see Mike now in Greenville. And
Hmm.
if you're in South Carolina, it's worth the drive for his one visit. I believe you need one visit and then you can do telehealth with Mike and his practice. So take the drive, even if you're not in Greenville, to go do one visit and then see what it can do for you if you have a medical issue. Like if you have a medical issue, we tell people to go to Mike.
Hmm.
Everybody thinks they have a medical issue. He finds out they don't, right? It's their lifestyle and their habits. But I like when Mike gets on certain kicks because you'll start seeing the content on certain things. And he put up something that was really awesome. He said, it was kind of correlating the change we're seeing in the media with, taking preservatives out of foods and cooking with beef tallow and all these things you're seeing. And he's like, we're really missing, like, there's no better life longevity than the bar. And it's been proven that there is really no replacement for longevity than exercise and strength training. I don't care what you do. The correlation between exercise and strength training, and maybe, VO2 max is in there, right? If you're not doing that, then you're really missing the low-lying fruit on quality of life and longevity. And I guess it's not really how long you live, but how well you live for how long. Because I think me and you can probably agree. It's not necessarily how long I live, but I want to make it straight up to how long I live and live a great quality life.
I never want to be miserable. I never want to be bedridden or chair ridden or, you know, dependent on someone else. Never. I want to be like that older man that was like 90 something years old that climbed half Dome.
Mhm.
That's what I want to be.
I have a friend whose mom's 92 and she still mows the lawn in Somerville, South Carolina in the heat. And she still
Yep.
feels great. My buddy's
Mhm.
like, yeah, my mom's 92 years old and she mows the lawn at 90 degrees in Somerville.
Yep.
And
That's how I want to be.
goes to the grocery store and, she wants to be able to do it. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome, right? But like, we're missing the low-lying fruit by not strength training and getting
Right.
exercise and getting
Right.
your heart rate up. Everybody wants to talk about all these things from, you know, I guess maybe where the line is drawn is like things we don't control, we can't control, like what they're putting in our bodies. Yeah, I don't know. There's a line there, I guess, now that I think about it. But like, if you want to live healthy and you're waiting for the government to make it so you can, like, there's a gym down the road.
I'm actually glad that you brought this back up because I wanted to touch on this earlier when you're just talking about women. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me how we're like always trying to promote these like strong women, right? And strong has many different meanings, but then why are you just doing low intensity workouts? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's what
Like
women have been told, though.
what?
It's what women have been told.
I know it, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, again, I think every fitness has its place in different ways. Pilates has its place, yoga has its place. Like, I enjoy, I haven't done Pilates before, but I've done yoga, I've taught yoga. Like, everything has its place. But it doesn't make sense to me when you see over and over and over again strength training, progressive overload, lifting heavy weights. Like, it doesn't make sense to me why you're not doing it. I don't get it. I don't, how many times do you have to be told that lifting weights will not make you bulky? That when you do see a bulky woman, it's years, decades of training, and more than that, decades of nutrition to be that way.
Are you going
It
to put me
doesn't
in a
make any
position to
sense.
defend women? You're going to put me in a position to defend women, aren't you?
You can. You totally can. And I know that the media and the society and everything is totally against, or I guess doesn't promote strength training in its whole, but I just like the I'm scared to lift because I'm scared to get bulky argument is so tired to me. Like, I don't think it's true. I think you know better.
Yeah, that's also the same thing we touched on earlier, the calorie intake one.
Yeah.
Man, women have been told such lies by their mothers
Mm,
and their friends and their peers and society. Um, One of the most amazing things I tell people is, I still have women, they'll say, I want to look like this, and they'll send me a picture. And they're like, they think the route that girl got there is Pilates, yoga, under eating, and just eating yogurt and coffee. And I said, that woman strength trains. Ben
mhm.
Bruno is a personal trainer, and he's like the personal training to the stars, right?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
And who's the model? Is it Kate Upton? She married Justin Verlander.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Um, he did an amazing thing where he posted all of this content of Kate Upton's strength training. I'm talking lion mind pressing for 6, trap bar deadlifting for 6, sled pushing for 6. And he posted it for a real long time. And obviously, you're going to become very popular as a personal trainer, posting a woman that tons of women want to look like.
Yeah.
But what the mission, what he was saying is this woman, who's known as one of the most beautiful women in the world, lifts heavy weights. She strength trains. She's trap bar deadlifting, pushing sled, landmine pressing, doing dumbbell presses, squatting. She's doing all of these things. And it was so good to see that because, and I guess what my defense to women were, and I just dealt with this morning. Um, if you've been told to eat less, get skinnier, be as small as you can, and you're a 140-pound girl and you're eating 1,100 to 1,200 calories, and you've been doing that your whole life and not know why it's working, and you think it's your hormones, I do give some grace there that psychologically it's so hard for a coach to look at you and hand you something that says, well, you really need to be at about 1,700, but we're going to start you at 14, 1,500, right? Because you can't just go right there, like you said earlier. That's so psychologically hard on a girl in her 30s who's thought that since she's 12.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
You know that I was raised not to talk about my body and stuff. Like, my mom just never did that. I'm not saying that there was like, there's definitely struggles here and there, like with weight and whatnot, but like, it's still mind blowing to me. And I think this is why, because as soon as I have a client for 1 week eat 150 more calories than they have been, they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I don't have brain fog. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night. I'm not sweaty through the day. And I'm like, literally a protein bar or a banana is all you changed,
Mm.
you know? So I just think like there is too much information now that we have as women on that is not what to do. Why are you still falling for that? I get the psychological thing, but I'm like, try it.
Yeah.
Just do it. There's too much information for you now to see that these things work when this is what coaches are posting about. This is what this is the thing. Even my fitness pal has changed their programming. So when you log on there and you enter your stats, it's not going to give you 1,200 calories. It's going to give you 1,550 or 1,600.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never let
Yeah.
Fitness Pal give me. I've seen my Fitness Pal screw up my clients so many times. I'm like, I don't trust you, my Fitness Pal. But we just plug them in. Yeah.
It still has its moments, but that last update it did, like the big one, maybe a year and a half ago, where it started tracking like sleep and stuff for you, that's
Right.
when the push came where it tracks calories a lot higher. So again, like I'm like, even if you don't hire anybody, if you go on ChatGPT and you say, what are my macros? Like the information is a lot more solid than it used to be.
Hmm. Yeah. I started a client, a guy who these people are the best. They already work out. It's already important
Mhm.
to them. They just want some fine tuning. And he was 199, 200 pounds, lean individual, ex-college football player. Those guys are usually the best because they understand hard work, right?
Mhm.
And he was doing about 2,100 calories a day. And he is in his middle 30s getting blood work and just he's like, I got a family. I need to be here for my family. It's not always about looks. I need to be healthy.
Yeah.
He got some blood work back that was a little concerning. So we're making some changes and we bumped him up to like 2,600. And he's like, man, that's gonna feel good, but I'm a little worried. So, and this is also a kid I trained in high school, so he trusts me, right?
Mhm.
And we had the conversation. He's like, all right, that makes sense. Like, what kind of foods can I do to bump it up but still have quality? And we talked about those foods and to bump it up. But even for a guy, he's like, I'm lean. I like the way I look. And I'm like, yeah, man, but like your sleep's probably bad. You're killing yourself with 2,100 calories a day. You're a busy guy. You need that extra. You lift hard. I said, you're gonna feel better, look better. And one of the things that his on his goals is he wants to be more stress resilient. Notice we use
Mhm.
stress resilient, right? Because a
I know.
little bit glass, it is a little bit of gaslighting to tell people to manage their stress. You got to have less stress, bro. It's 2025, right? Are we asking people to have less stress or just learn how to manage and be more resilient to their stress?
Yeah. I love that.
One of the big issues is your body is under crazy amounts of stress at a very low calorie intake. And Mike said that I said, hey, what's one of the hardest things with women? He goes, there's two things. The stress from super low calories and the havoc it rains on your hormones and your body, and eating even meals throughout the day to balance blood sugar.
Mhm.
All of those, to miss those wreaks havoc on their stress levels. And I said, what about it for men? He goes, getting enough protein.
Mhm.
So they do wreak havoc on that lower calorie intake, but I do understand women because there's a lot of women whose biggest fear is to gain weight.
Yeah.
They step on the scale, and I use if anybody's listening to this, go find Grace weight fluctuations videos you did when in like 2019. Was that like
Yeah, forever ago.
And I said, I send people the weight fluctuation video all the time, and they're like, oh my gosh, that helped me incredibly.
Here's what I want you to get out of this, though, if you are listening as a woman who's scared of gaining weight. I'd be way more scared to stay the same. I'd be way more scared to feel like shit, sleep like shit, be stressed, be caffeine dependent, hate the way I look all the time than I would have a few pounds. I'd be way more scared to stay the same. If that means like I'm gaining 10 pounds and I feel better, let's do it because I know I can lose those 10 pounds.
Just such a hard message for women.
It is a hard message,
You
but
tell women you can
I,
lose 10 pounds, but your stress and sleep and the way you feel would be worse. There's a lot of women that would take the 10 pounds of weight loss.
I know it. I
Yeah.
know it. We cannot do like you've got to be more scared to stay the same.
Me and Mike did a consult with somebody one time. She filled out Mike's intake form, which is way, if you think our intake form is rough, Mike's intake form is a book. And we did a consult, and it was an hour. I got on the phone, we talked about it. And Mike at the end of it said, I don't think you even have your body in the right ecosystem to even lose weight. You're in an unhealthy state and you possibly could be in a disease state. You need to get out of that before you even think about losing weight.
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh," right? And we've done consults with people where Mike was like, "I don't recommend you getting in a caloric deficit right now." They're like, he's like, "You're not even in the right environment in your body to lose weight. You're in a disease state." And so that person listened, and we did this for 8 weeks. They changed their sleep, increased their calories, made all the sleep changes, food quality, all the changes. Like, and this is the crazy 8 week follow up. We followed up 8 weeks later. They made all of the changes, and the results were I'm sleeping better, I'm feeling better, I'm sleeping through the night, my stress levels lower, my energy's better, all of these changes. And then they go, but I'm pretty upset because I've gained 2 pounds.
Yeah, which is
And Mike goes, let me, if you need to go, you need to go get your dog.
just let me see what he has in his mouth real
Yeah,
quick. Keep
that's a good
talking.
idea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was absolutely amazing to me because Mike goes, let me get this right. You're sleeping better. Your stress level is down. You're happier throughout the day.
Hmm.
You have more energy. All of these things have gone for the better. And you're complaining that you gained 2 pounds? He's like, I think you need to learn to change your perspective on what success looks like.
Exactly. But that's the hard conversations we need to have with these women or with people in general is that you might have to gain a little weight in order to feel better and lose the weight that you wanted to lose. You might have to.
You know what happened to
And
that
that's
person? They kept all those habits. We added strength training. We started slowly decreasing calories, increasing protein. They lost 14 pounds.
exactly.
But it took, and it wasn't those 8 weeks. I'm going to say it probably took 4 months of no weight loss, of feeling better to get in a position to lose weight.
Hmm.
Man, people don't want that.
Hmm.
That's hard conversation.
It's really hard conversation to have, but like again, it's just worth it in my opinion. And it's the whole thing of like, oh, well, I want it now. I want it to happen in 30 days. I want it to happen in 2 weeks. And it's just not realistic for the time that we're living in. If you are low stress, sure, you can achieve that. But 99% of people are not low stress.
I was watching Mike Israetel goes, a lot of the people who are professionals in the industry who make the living off their physique because they have endorsements, they maybe compete in bodybuilding or fitness or, people that do it long living. He goes, most of those people have really low stress lives. They
Mhm.
lift, they do endorsements, they go to some events. Yeah, they compete, play a lot of video games, hang out with their boys, go to shows. Like they're in a pretty good stress environment
Mhm.
to build muscle and get big and recover, right? Because like I I actually have to force myself to have a day where like my step count's 2,500
Yeah.
because I'm jiu-jitsu 3 days a week. I'm lifting, I'm moving at work all the time. I'm doing a lot of stuff all the time. Um, and I'm like, I got to have a day of nothing.
Yeah. All my clients know that I have a rule for myself for every stressful thing I do, I have to do something non-stressful. So like if I go lift, I need to do my 7 minute walk around the block. If I teach 3 classes in a row, I've got to have some kind of downtime after because it's high energy for 3 hours, like that's just the rule. And it doesn't have to equal the same time. Like if I teach for 3 hours, I don't need to like sit in darkness for
Yeah,
3 hours, but I need to do something for like 10 to 15 minutes to just like breathe through it, bring my levels down, make sure that I get back in that parasympathetic nervous system.
I don't even know what that is.
Your PNS?
I don't know what my parasympathetic nervous system is. They say it
Oh,
exists.
you don't have one.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you don't
sure.
have one.
I'm not sure where my parasympathetic nervous. I do something 3 days a week for an hour and a half each time that simulates murdering somebody. And
Yep.
Mike, Mike one time goes, he's like, what are your hardest days of sleep? So I said, well, I have jujitsu till 8:30, 8:45, come home. I eat at 9, go to bed at 11 because I make sure I don't eat 2 hours before I go to bed. And I'm sometimes just have a hard time winding down. And Mike goes, so you go do something that simulates murdering somebody else for an hour and a half and you're not sure why you have a hard time winding down. He goes,
Yeah, like what?
your brain doesn't know the difference between like choking and training and somebody choking and trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Oh man, never thought about it that way, right? Because I'm just so used to doing it. But like, yeah, parasympathetic nervous system for me, I think I have one.
Do you have a bathtub?
Yes.
Do you ever take Epsom salt baths after
I
something like
should.
that?
It's a small
You should.
bathtub, and I just have this image of, the fat guy in the bathtub kind of thing,
Who
right?
cares?
I should do
Kick your feet up.
I should do Epsom salt baths. I should do some sort of heat. I like heat. I don't like cold. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
I hate cold. Anything cold makes me angry. I'm a bad person. I
I
like
think the
sauna.
Yeah, the best part about heat to me too is it's always like I'm not getting in a fucking cold bath in the dark. Like, no, thank you. But like I can get in a sauna or get in the bathtub and it's also dark. And I just think lights are very stressful too. And if you can surround yourself, like it's almost like being in a cocoon when you get in your bathtub and you just have like candlelight, or sometimes I'll just turn like the hall light on so it's not directly over me.
So hard for me because I'll sit there and be like, what am I doing here? I got things to do.
Read, take
Yeah,
your book in the bath.
it's
I
hard.
take my Kindle.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's hard.
But I'm knocking two birds out.
That is a place I need to be, bringing down my tone, right?
Or
Um,
even like a great way to do it is after, I don't know if you do this or not, after I teach, I don't listen to anything in the car on the way home. Nothing.
oh man, I had to drive
Right
a
in
lot the last
silence.
couple of weeks. I had to drive a lot the last couple of weeks for football games, and I noticed like an hour and a half into a few of them, there was complete silence. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
But that's what you need. Like that's another great one too. And like just implementing habits like that where you're knocking two things out at once is really nice. So like if you know you have reading time, go take a bath with it, or go in the sauna or whatever. If you know that you've got to drive, take 20 minutes of it to not listen to anything. If you're going for a walk, try not to listen to anything. Like you're knocking two things out.
Yeah, I do enjoy silence.
I do too. I used to not. I used to hate it. Now I'm like,
I do enjoy the peace of silence is pretty nice and loud noises. That is, I've always been like that. Anything loud or anything drastic loud, kind of like "Ugh," high stress,
yeah,
right? Just jumpy. Um, One thing I do want to talk about, and you text into this, and we thought about it, and we thought about bringing on Mike, and I think it ties into what we were talking earlier. Is our society just has a diminishing ability to have common sense.
it's up in arms about anything.
Yeah.
And that's my issue is like, so I had one of my girlfriends was living with us for the month because she's in med school and she was doing the rotation. And I love to talk to her about this stuff because she's so like the gray area. Everything has the gray area. And I think that people forget that there is a gray area. So I have like two favorite things to say around issues at hand. One of them you taught me, which is minimum effective dose.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is correlation versus causation.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my two favorite things to say.
Yeah. And by
Take
the
it.
way, the person that really helped me a lot with minimum effective dose, we're having on next week, Matt Vincent. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Perfect. Perfect segue in.
Yeah. Yeah, minimum effective dose and causation versus correlation. And you know, I worry for the generation of kids below us because they're just so much inundated with content and content and content and content and content and content. People are becoming so much more polarized, and they're becoming so much more ideological, and other people are doing the thinking for them, and AI is doing the thinking for them, and um, they're becoming so emotional to the content and the data they see One of the greatest books I ever read, and my friend Nick Tuminello, who's been all over the internet and has been like Health Magazine's Trainer of the Year. He's written books. He's been keynote speaker. He told me years ago to write a book, read a book called I think it's How You Know What Isn't So. And it's a book about critical thinking and thinking logically through all kinds of things. And when people ask me what are the two books that helped you the most in fitness, I said Atomic Habits and How Do You Know What Isn't So.
Hmm.
Atomic Habits because fitness is all about changing your habit and routine. You know what isn't so teaches you how to go through how to look at things and call bull crap. And there's nothing that more that's bull crap in the health and fitness, even now in the medical industry with the Tylenol stuff coming out and people reframing conversations that people have and people not understanding it and people making certain things political and personal that don't need to be political and personal. And you know, I used to study logical fallacies. There's like 12 major logical fallacies that you can look at when people debate that you can be like, all right, that doesn't work. One
Hmm.
of them is ad hominem. And ad hominem in the simplest way is basically once you start getting into name calling and blaming and accusing, the conversation's over. Once somebody says, and me and you could have a disagreement on something, and you're like, well, you just think that because you're stupid. Well, ad hominem doesn't really work. But I'm really starting to think, Gray, that there's sometimes ad hominem might just be proper observation of human personality and human people to just think that, well, maybe you're just not that smart. And maybe you're just not that intelligent. And maybe you just don't know how to critical think. And I put a post up yesterday, and it was basically just like, I just think some people think that because they're just not very smart.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to attack somebody, but everybody's IQ is different and everybody's ability to step back. And one of the things I've been able to do that's really important to me personally is be able to have conversations with people that don't have the same beliefs or things that I do because I want to understand people. Unfortunately, we've learned that having that stance could get you shot in the neck. But I want to understand and have conversations with people who want to be honest skeptics. I need an honest skeptic. I need
Yes.
somebody that's like, this is how I feel and this is how I feel, but I'm open to changing based on information. I'm
Hmm.
open to change how I think and how I view the world or how I view certain things based on information that's given to me. I can change my view, understanding that I do believe in certain holistic truths.
Hmm.
As long as you're like, I'll listen to anybody. It's about strength and conditioning, as long as we stick to the basic core truths. And some of those things are, progressive overload and, those basic truths.
Hmm.
Caloric deficit in a diet, caloric surplus in a diet. As long as you stick to basic truths and don't become a hack, I can kind of listen to you and understand. And also, I can also understand that your experiences in life are different than my experiences in life. So our perspective might be a little bit different, but that's okay.
Hmm.
As long as you stick to basic core truths. The problem is we've become so ideological and we become so postmodern that people think that truth is fluid.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but truth is not fluid. I do understand when people try to use the word your truth. Oh, it's my truth. Yes, your experiences shape how you feel and how you see certain things. But people have taken the word your truth and have completely bent truth to be fluid to the point of moral relativism. And man, that's a dangerous place to be in society, whether it's fitness and nutrition, whether it's religion, whether it's politics. But man, I'm really starting to think, Gray, that population just doesn't have the ability to do that anymore. And I don't even have conversations with people anymore. And that's sad. That's my fault. I almost don't even, I hear it and I hear it everywhere I go. I hear it said and I go, just not worth it, man.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, because it's not even like being scared to have the conversation, it's knowing that you are going to waste your energy on the conversation because there is no dialogue where it's healthy, right? There is no like, let's actually talk about this and learn why you think this way, why I think this way. It is just straight up like, you're wrong. And I'm going to call you all these names, just like you said. I'm going to call you all of these names and you're wrong. Like, it's not worth the energy.
I do think tolerance is overrated.
Hmm.
There are certain things we should not tolerate.
Sure.
I can't remember who it says tolerance and apathy are the last two characteristics of a falling culture or something like that. Somebody really smart said that. Yeah, there are some things we should not tolerate, right? I mean, I don't tolerate disrespect.
Yeah.
Care what title you hold in life. It doesn't bother me what title you hold in life. I don't care who you are, what title you have, what authority you think you have. If you're disrespectful, I'm probably going to punch you in the face.
Yep.
Like, I mean, and that I'm not trying to be threatening about it, but like, I was taught at a certain level that when you disrespect and think that your title or who you are allows you to be disrespectful, you're probably going to catch hands and catch something violent. We don't have enough of that anymore, right?
Hmm.
I mean, my kid got pushed down one time. He complained to me about being pushed down at the playground. Come to find out, my kid stole a kid's ball, and the kid came over, pushed Asher down, and took the ball. He forgot to mention that, but
Of
I'm like, let
course.
me explain this. You went over, you took the kid's ball, you bullied him, took the ball, laughed at him. He came over, pushed you down, took the ball back. He's like, yeah. I was like, I don't see anything wrong with that exchange. Right? I don't see it, right? You threaten me in any kind of way, and I think, you think your mouth can run you a certain type of way. A lot of people I hang around with because of the industry I'm involved in, they're gonna punch you in the face. I mean, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna punch you in the face. And I'm not gonna feel bad for you because your mouth, got you punched in the face. So
That's how I was raised.
yeah, and you can't be disrespectful, but there's a way to be respectful, have discourse, but you have to stay within certain levels of truth. And then you have people say things like, well, that's just not my truth. No, it's true. The sky's blue today. Like, that leaf is green. That's a chair, right? Like, we have to have some certain truths.
Hmm.
And I've had conversations with people that I'm really good friends with. In jujitsu, sometimes at the end, we have people, because the coolest thing about jujitsu is like you have people from all walks of life, sexual orientation, past history, past religion, right? You'll have all different kinds of people do jujitsu for the common role of jujitsu. Nobody even thinks about anything else other than jujitsu. But we do have conversations sometimes at the end with people we're friends with. And I was like, well, we can have this conversation, but you need to understand, do you understand these basic truths? No, I don't know if I believe that. Well, then we can't have a conversation, right? I can't, and that's okay, right? But like, we have lost that ability in our society. We don't have the ability to do it anymore. And that is the sign of a crumbling society because when public discourse and conversation stop, that's usually where violence continues. And I
Yeah,
know
you
it's
know
hard,
who said that?
I know it's hard to hear me say that when I just said disrespect will get you punched in the face. But to me, disrespect is stopping the conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. When you want to be
Or just
disrespectful, it will
dialogue in a disrespectful way.
is
Yeah.
is there's consequence. There's consequence to that, right?
I don't remember if you were the one that said this or maybe my dad said this. Anyways,
Oh
one
my
of you
gosh.
guys taught
You and
me
your dad just
this.
got correlated.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, the best way to have an argument is making sure you know the other side of the argument.
Yeah, the best I've said that. I said the best way to defend an argument is to just know all the counter arguments through and through.
Right. So like that's also a really great way to look at things. Like when I am thinking about a conversation with anyone and I know it could pull some strings, I know it might set somebody off. It's like I have to think of that in that perspective as well. Why would this make somebody emotional or triggered, or and it's not necessarily me like always watching out for someone's feelings, but it is me saying like I'm going to be respectful enough to know why this could be a hard conversation.
100%, right? 100%. If you want to talk to somebody about food, diet, exercise, nutrition, you better understand the perspective of a person who's battled 15 years of an eating disorder, almost lost their life, ended up going through heavy counseling, and went through all of the hurt and pain in their family of a life-threatening eating disorder.
Hmm.
Better have some empathy for that.
Hmm.
If you're gonna have a conversation with somebody about that. If
Hmm.
you're gonna talk to somebody about, I didn't know if I told you this. My sister quit a very well-paying job with insurance to doing well. My sister's a weird girl, right? Super intelligent, high-end intelligence, graduated double majors at 20, taught herself languages. Is just a different human being. Probably an IQ of over 140, 150. It's just a different human, right? She quit all of the job, all the stuff she does, and started working for an organization that because she's got a history in psychology, that rehabilitates sex trafficked girls. And when I heard she was taking that job, I'm like, are you like, that's heavy,
Hmm.
right? I imagine if you're going to talk about sex trafficking to a random person, I bet she's going to have some views that might change how you feel.
Yeah.
So she lives a life every day dealing with girls who have been sex trafficked.
Hmm.
I do have empathy for that. I want people to explain to me what shapes their beliefs so we can have a conversation
Yeah.
if they're open to seeing things different.
Well, that also makes you a better person. You know, that makes me more aware of different things. And that's like what we've always talked about with our coaching is like, I got to know what happened within your last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to make me understand why you think the way that you do. That's a responsibility I take very seriously.
Yeah, because you've talked about, the age of women that you'll work with and women you work with who grew up with high intensity cardio, don't eat, take Dexatrim,
Hmm.
do all these things, and then it turned into this, then it turned into that. Then there are all of these fads. That's a hard population to deal with. And to talk about like the under eating thing, like, that is the damage of the calories in, calories out conversation,
Hmm.
is that people think that if you're not losing weight, then you need to eat less calories.
Hmm.
Now, there's a caveat to that. For a large majority of people, they are overeating their calories and need to eat less. Don't hear me saying that's not true. It is. Most people that don't track food or don't look at food, I've looked at people's diet and they've written food logs and I've asked them how much they think they're eating. They're eating 1,000 calories more, like 30. They're eating way more than they think. So yes, calories in, calories out is a math, but that's a reductionist view of the process,
Hmm.
right? But if you're going to have conversations with anybody, especially their diet and food and exercise, you better understand where they're coming from. If you're going to have conversations with anybody, you better understand where they're coming from. Um, I watched a really interesting debate on IVF,
Love that.
and both people that had the debate left the debate and went, I totally understand where you're coming from,
We need more of that.
right? But people get personal. And again, it's probably hard for me to hear me say that when I say ad hominem might be the right way sometimes. But man, we are in a very bad spot culturally.
Yeah. I mean, even just like with the all the talk about autism, like the whole my truth. You know, I've seen a lot of posts that are like, living with autism is nothing that we should be ashamed of. And like, why would we want to change it? And yada, yada. And I get from some perspectives, there are, like, I watched a woman on TikTok talk about this. And she said, you know, there are some families that have an autistic child that is highly functioning.
Yeah.
right? Like
Spectrum, right?
they do
It's called a spectrum
everything
disorder.
mostly, yeah,
Yeah.
mostly very normal.
Yeah.
There's just a few things that are off. She was like, that is not my experience whatsoever. I have a child that will like just randomly bite you or randomly hit someone or walk across the street and pull someone's hair. Like it's just
Nonverbal and yeah.
nonverbal. Yes, like it is. We have to remember that, right? Like we have to remember that some people would love to find a cure or a way to reduce the risks,
But then you
you
have
know?
that great, then you have the people pregnant chugging bottles of that Tylenol, man.
Oh my God.
And I'm
Oh,
telling you, dude, I just told somebody that's natural selection work.
natural selection. Yeah, you told me that.
That's
Yeah.
natural selection work. Let it go, bro. Let it go. That's like people who cross the street and don't look both ways. We're just natural selection. We're letting
Yeah.
it go, right? Just let it
Yeah.
go. Let nature play its way out, right? And yeah, I think there are a lot of people that like to figure out why autism rates are on the rise, and are we just diagnosing it better? And there's a lot of people that want to find out why sickness is higher. The funny thing to me is, I think people think that we forgot what happened during COVID,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Hello?
yeah, like that's not too long ago, right? But um, all right, that's episode 72.
Cut
Just me
it
and
off before we go to the rabbit hole.
no, we'll go back on the rabbit hole. We'll have Matt Vincent on next week. We're gonna have Tamaya back on. Um, we'll have more people back on. Probably have Mike Wines back on now that Mike Wines is kind of his office is kind of going to work with us, and we're going to have more people. Maybe have his boss on.
Yeah.
People like that would be really cool, and then have part twos with a lot of people. So, all right, episode 72. We'll talk to everybody later.
73.
Three coming up. Bye.
Bye.